welcome in. It is a mid-December, the 15th. How about that? Already, it feels like an outside edition of BloodHorse Monday. His name is Sean. I'm Louie. Thanks for hanging out with us, starting your horse racing week this way with the program. Tom Ryan and Jake Delhomme today. Why not?
Yeah.
How about that?
Good show.
Little Derby talk, little Touchuponastar talk, little NFL Europe talk. Why not? Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? And I'm always thankful that you start the episode with where we are in the month, mid-December.
Yeah.
It keeps me updated on exactly what time of year that we're in. So I definitely always appreciate that.
It is interesting in other sports that I get to talk about, on my radio show and stuff. You know what part of the season you're in. Right. And horse racing certainly has its seasons, right? Obviously, Derby season, Breeders' Cup season, etc. But there are the in-betweens where you're just kind of going, right? And you're just going and you're like, wait, Christmas is next week? Like, I do that a lot.
Wow, yeah.
Right? Okay, there you go. Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. Is not, do we, what's the actual date time stamp on this episode, but rather just, oh crap, Christmas is next week. Yeah. So you got a lady in your life. I'm sure you
gotta go shopping.
Yeah, have you taken care of that already?
I have, yes, actually.
Look at you, a little planning.
Yeah, well, no, the gift already took place last week. We went up to see Hamilton in Indianapolis.
Well, how about that?
So that was actually
that's
good.
a heck of a gift, Sean.
Yeah,
Collins.
I know.
Goodness gracious. Wow, is that like an overnight, like dinner, all the stuff? Like
no, we went up there just for that.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's a 2-hour drive for people outside of the market. That's a 2-hour
drive. It was snowing on the way home, so that was interesting. But also, we usually eat in. She's got a lot of food allergies, so we don't go. We don't. Go
that's a fair point. So actually,
yeah. So usually,
the up and back
dinner's
makes
not going to be involved. But all
right, had you seen Hamilton before?
I had seen it on the Disney Plus version.
Okay, but not in person.
I'd never seen it in person. It was definitely more enjoyable in person.
Okay, how about that?
Yeah.
There you go.
She's a big American history nerd, so she loved it.
There you go. So is she a rapper?
No,
not anymore.
That's not what I would describe.
More high school for your lady.
Yeah, back in the high school days, maybe.
DJ girlfriend. That's exactly right. I'm a Hamilton guy, but I'm also not a musicals guy, and I'm not. But I'm not mad about it. Like. A lot of people like it. Like you're not the only person I know that traveled to Indianapolis to watch this thing. Like
really,
lots of people that go. Yeah, no, it's great.
Well, you should have told me that other people were going. We could have carpooled. We could have gotten a bus together or something.
That is so horse racing. Don't want to carpool. You go to the track tomorrow.
We could have rented the funny side bus.
Go to Belterra together. Yeah, right.
The funny side bus and drive up to Indianapolis.
You leave the funny side bus out. We will talk with Tom Ryan. And with Jake Delhomme today, Litmus Test, and of course, Touchuponastar, the real stars of those conversations for sure. Interested to get into it with Tom. The Los Alamitos Futurity happens. It's Baffert's 708th win in that series, which is a remarkable new record for him. Yeah, just when you think Baffert couldn't go to a new number that you've never thought of before, he wins his 708th Los Alamitos Futurity. It's a remarkable number.
708th. I didn't know they ran the Los Alamitos Futurity.
Yeah. So it actually, during the Crusades, they took a couple years off, but after that, they've gone back.
Baffert still had horses in it.
He still had them. That's right.
And he finished top 3 in this race too.
Okay.
Let's not gloss over that.
Correct. And so this is where last weekend I thought it would be a Baffert 1, 2, 3 in the Starlet. He waited till this weekend to do that. But Litmus Test gets him in here. How good do you think he is? Because this is a horse that we saw. I thought he ran really well, frankly, as part of that second group in the Breeders' Cup in the juvenile, right? Behind Ted Nafi, who at this point in the class he's going to win the Eclipse Award, all the things, and he should. What do you make though of Litmus Test?
Well, we saw him run behind Ted Nafi in both the Breeders' Futurity and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good point.
Behind Brant, I believe, in the Del Mar Futurity. So we've seen him behind who right now I think is being considered the top of the division, which in my opinion, I think that really kind of helps to tell us that, seeing how strong he was this past weekend, that helps to tell us that these top horses in the 2-year-old division of the juvenile, specifically the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, are going to be legit kind of moving forward.
I agree with you.
Because I think, was it last year, trying to think back, where the 2-year-olds in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile really didn't progress, it seemed like, as we went into the 3-year-old season. All the new shooters kind of, I don't want to say new shooters, because obviously journalism and sovereignty were around during the 2-year-old season winning stakes races, but they weren't at that point.
This is when we met journalism last year. Was this race?
Yeah. And but so I think this is a year where we're going to be able to be confident in the top 2-year-olds as they're moving into their 3-year-old season. I think this was a good first step. The fact that he gets away from Ted Noffey, Brant, and them, and immediately comes up with a win, I think is a good thing. And, he could just be one of those horses that's developing. We know the 2-year-old division's been kind of light in California this year, so it's no surprise he was given the opportunity. I like the fact that Baffert did want to ship him for the race in Kentucky.
I agree. You're not going to do that. Ultimate endorsement. That is the ultimate endorsement.
You're not going to do that with the horse if you don't think, even if you thought maybe we're not going to win this race, you're still not going to do it unless you think this is going to be a horse that's going to have talent at some point in the future.
And off that showing could have said, maybe we look at something different. They never did that.
They went right back to the Breeders'
straight to the juvenile and then straight to this race. Obviously, they think they have something. I expect a little bit of time off here. We'll ask Tom about that in a few minutes. But this is sets up. We know who the Robert B. Lewis at least contenders are already, and then who are we going to meet in the next couple of months, right? Who's going to run in a debut, say on Malibu Day or something like that, the day after Christmas? Who are those horses? Who are we going to see by the time we get to the Lewis, which is always I think of as like hey, we're doing the Derby Trail in California. Like, no offense to the Los Alamitos Futurity, which I do like, and it's a day that I bet, but it's not. I don't think of that as oh man, we got to really pay attention to Derby horses.
Well, I think the thing that the Los Alamitos Futurity has been in the last couple of years is telling you whether or not the California Derby prep races are going to run through Baffert. Because you think about journalism last year, you think about Practical Move a few years ago. They used the Los Alamitos Futurity. They beat the Bafferts in that race, and then they went on to really dominate all the big prep races on the West Coast heading into the Derby. And so the fact that we had a Baffert 1, 2, 3 here, I think that's telling that we're lined up to see quite a bit of success from the Baffert barn as these 3-year-old prep races start.
What do you make of the others that are on the West Coast? Are there any that stand out to you? I wanted to ask you at this point, is Ted Noffey at the top of your Derby rank? Like if we ran the Derby today,
he would be the favorite.
He'd be the favorite for you. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not necessarily saying he would be my pick in the race, but he definitely would be the favorite at this point. He deserves to be. I mean, he should be a unanimous choice for champion 2-year-old, I would think. And he's done nothing wrong at this point. We'll see, as some of these, we had a horse like Paladin last week who looked pretty good running a mile and an eighth, and a Remsen.
He's in my top 3 for sure. I'm off that Remsen.
I'm a big Incredible fan off the street.
That's what I was going to ask. So, do you have him on top of your
right now? He's my number 1.
Okay.
Paladin's right behind him. I liked Paladin's win a lot. And so we'll see what they do as they come back. We'll see what Ted Noffey does as he comes back. No fault to Ted Noffey at all. As far as the West Coast,
like an Intrepido or Mr. AP, something like that.
Mr. AP intrigues me just because I don't think we really know what he is yet, and so
to come out of back-to-back days, frankly, with in juvenile fillies as well,
Super Corridor
with maiden breakers coming out to win those races. It's very difficult to know if that's a one-off or if that's a repeatable thing. Mr. AP did not win, but can he do that again is a legitimate question, right? Because he ran a heck of a race.
So we'll find that out with him. Intrepido, I don't know what I made of his Breeders' Cup Juvenile run. We'll see what he does when he comes back, and there's bound to be at least a couple.
The answer is it was disappointing. Yeah.
We're bound to see maybe a couple of other horses pop up on the West Coast. Doug O'Neill's always going to have a couple that he puts in there.
Michael McCarthy's going to
Michael McCarthy will come up with
Sadler will have something.
Sadler will have something. So we'll see how this ends up going on the West Coast. But right now, it definitely looks like it's going to be running through the Baffert horses.
And worth mentioning too, Mr. AP out of the Sarin bar, Vladimir Sarin, and then Intrepido is a Jeff Mullins trainee, right? So
so there are other horses out there.
Well, and frankly, much of the complaints is that too many of those horses are in the same barn. It's nice to see in the top 5 of the current Derby rankings, guys like Vladimir Sarin and Jeff Mullins alongside a Pletcher, Baffert, and a McPeak, right? Yes. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that in this sport we'd like to think that there's still a path for the smaller guy to get to the Derby. Ask Ethan West what that's all about, right? I mean, those sorts of things. And so at this point, I know we're very early in the process, but Chad Summers, Napoleon Solo, that's a serious shot at the Derby.
Yeah.
He keeps going, keeps picking up 10, 20 points at a time. That's a horse that can make the Derby. And so, just hopeful that we've got a couple of those as well. But of course, we want the sovereignty of the world, right? Yes. For sure. We want those horses. So hopefully, whether it's Ted Noffey or not, we'll figure it out. What would be your guess? More likely that Ted Noffey doesn't win a graded stakes in 2026, or that he wins one of the 3 classic races?
Ooh,
I would go with no graded stakes at all. I think it's that hard to go from 2 to 3.
Well, I'm running through the Triple Crown races, and I'm like, well, if he doesn't win the Derby, Pletcher would skip the Preakness.
Yep.
Because Pletcher never runs them back in the Preakness.
Correct.
And so then it would be up to the Belmont, which it is my own accord. And he maybe could. Ooh, that's tough. Because I don't want to say he's not going to. I think he's going to win a graded stakes in 2026. But yeah, but is that more likely than him winning? Ooh, that's a tough bet.
Yeah. So that's I asked that hypothetical only to kind of put a bow on the conversation of how difficult it is to know at this time of year.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why guys like Tom Ryan do have such an interesting job, because it's part of their job to forecast who's going to be good now and who's going to be good when we get to April and May. Right. Because, by the way, you have to be really good in April, because you have to be really competitive in that race to even matter in May, right? To qualify for May.
But it's also very good when you're doing pretty well in December. You get to pick up the check of a grade 2 race.
That is okay as well. Tom Ryan joins us, of course, part of the ownership team there with Litmus Test. Gets it done over the weekend. Tom, welcome in. Thanks for jumping on the show.
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, it was a fabulous weekend. A nice way to get into Christmas and look forward to the spring ahead.
Yeah, you gotta imagine too, a guy like Bob Baffert gets his really gets his legs underneath him at Los Alamitos. Got to be gratifying for him to win the Los Alamitos Futurity. I said earlier, I think the number's up to 708 times that he's won this. How about
that? But look, Bob is he's a win machine, and he's built such a good team around him. The results are not that surprising, but they're very satisfying at the same time. It's very hard to set up keep horses right. Like, this is Litmus Test 5th run this year, and he just had him really peak perfectly for this race. He's got a good foundation under him now, and it really gives you a little bit of, we can pause now a little bit and really see what the landscape, what we need to do over the next couple of months. There's no rush, there's no chase now. We know we have a good horse that'll go 2 turns, and Bob has confidence in him, and that's very important.
Yeah, but definitely a very important step for him here, getting that win after running some pretty good races behind the likes of Tednafi, Brandt, some of the top horses in this division as well. Just when you look at that, how big is it to get the win at the end of the year after those performances? And I feel like a lot of people will look at it as, he's been running behind some of the top horses. They were gone, so he won. But is this a horse that you guys think is just developing and starting to get into his best stride right now?
Yeah, I would. I really, look, when we select these horses, we're trying to buy 2-turn horses. We're not necessarily looking for your 5.5, 6.5, 7 furlong horse. Typically, we're looking for a horse that we're going to be excited about next March, April, May. And he's that kind of horse. He's that frame of horse. He's that design of horse. And I really feel, yeah, look, we'd love to be winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but we're also very proud that we ran within a couple of lengths of the Champion Touriole elect. So it gave us confidence that we have a Group 1 quality horse. And I think the way he ran this weekend, settling in behind, he was so tractable. And it felt like JJ had the race almost at his mercy at most points of it, And JJ mentioned after, when he felt that other horse coming to him late, Litmus picked up and continued to gallop out like a good horse. Like, that race didn't get to the bottom of him by any means. So, it gave us, cause to get excited, or just to have a little confidence going into 26.
Tom Ryan with us, part of the ownership, of course, of Litmus Test and the management team there. You see him do the 2 turns, as you mentioned, and you really do feel it. And I trust you here that you're not near the bottom of this horse. Obviously, he's a Nyquist baby. We saw what he did. When you did go and purchase this one, what was it about him as a young horse? Did you see some of his dad in him? What did you like when you picked him up?
Yeah, look, I'll be very honest with you. It was a case of Bob and Donato had recently, maybe it was a crop prior, purchased Nysos, and Bob had just started to see the brilliance of Nysos bubble at the time, and it just gave us confidence to, because we're very selective about the stallions that we will even consider to put into our group, because we're trying to build out a program where if a horse is good, there's a very high ceiling on what their potential worth is as a Kentucky future stallion. And Nyquist had given us lots of nice fillies, and there was lots of reason to believe that he was a good stallion, but we needed to be confident he had the ability to sire brilliance, and Nyquist really brought that to the table. Then we went to Saratoga. we landed on this horse. It was, he's a big, forward, balanced, athletic, and a colt with a very good mind, coming from a very good program. Kerry Browden, Craig Browden, they bring good horses out there at Mackmore Hall and raised them the right way. And this horse presented up there, just a big raw sort of colt that we felt like we could really work with. And Donato fell in love with him, and Bob followed suit. So it all felt good, and thankfully it landed.
Well, you mentioned earlier some of the success. Obviously, Baffert, 15 wins in this race. Not actually 400, 708 or whatever.
I got it's bad information.
But 15 wins in this one race. You guys have been involved now in a couple of them as well. Just what is it about him? You mentioned a great team that he has around him, but what is it about him that just keeps year after year being able to churn out these top horses, and just the eye of a horseman that he has?
Yeah, look, Bob he's part horse. He's got a great he's got an incredible ability to assess everything that's happening around him. And a lot of people don't really understand the amount of information Bob absorbs on an average day. His ability to just see a horse change in front of him, to understand when a horse is happy, to understand when a horse is regressing. It's really, I've spent a lot of time around Bob, and I feel very privileged that I have. But it's his ability to see change in a horse, to see a horse moving forward, to be able to kind of pull back on a horse when he's not really just in his groove. It's just quite amazing. And he treats them all as individuals. Bob is a big part of the buying process in these horses, but for us, himself and Donato, I mean, I just can't speak highly enough about how Bob is willing to he's willing to, be very decisive. And he's willing to give if he believes in a horse, he'll give a jockey confidence. If he makes the entire journey so enjoyable for the ownership group. We're like everybody. We have a very high amount of horses that don't work out as regards to becoming stallion prospects. But when Bob has a good horse, he knows exactly what to do with it. Everybody's along for the ride. Everybody shares in the enjoyment. Everyone's part of, the whole development of these horses. And it's at the end of the day, we're entertainers, and we all get to enjoy these good horses when we can put them together. And there's no better ringmaster than Bob.
Tom Ryan with us from SF Racing. You mentioned Litmus Test and his next couple of steps that he'll have to take. Can you take us through your plans with him? Is there a little bit of time off here? Is the Louis kind of what we're working backwards from? What is the next steps for Litmus Test?
No, I think this horse has now kind of solidified himself as a horse that we have confidence. 2 turns is not an issue. We feel like the mile in the 16th, he acquitted himself very well there. I think he'll be nominated to everything from February forward. I don't think there's any reason or rush to chase now. But we'll ultimately let the horse and Bob tell us where they want to go, and hopefully he can put himself fair and square on the trail. He's been a great horse to deal with. He's had a ship already. He's been to Keeneland. Yep. He's been back. So his foundation is fantastic, and that'll really stand to him come March and April. To ship to Keeneland, we talked about this right before you came on. I mean, you've obviously thought you've had high hopes for him for a long time, yeah. Yeah. And we've always liked him, and we liked him even before he came to California. Eddie Woods had him down there. He thought he was an express train at the time, and it's fantastic to see it all unfold. And he's stepped up incrementally the whole way along, and he's a horse that you can start to get a little bit excited about.
Well, one of the things that we always enjoy doing here on this show is giving the people an opportunity to meet some of the people behind the scenes, or the people whose faces you see that are involved with some of these top horses, but you don't always know that much about. So, Tom, how did you get started in the thoroughbred racing industry? Kind of what's your background and how you got involved in this?
Yeah, my background is I grew up on a very rural sheep and cattle farm in Ireland, and I was intoxicated by horses from the moment I, basically laid eyes on him. I was one of those kids that fell in love with the movie Farlap and fell in love with horses, and I was fortunate enough that my godfather gave me a horse, and I just had the dream from a very young age that I wanted to be involved with horses, and I'm one of the fortunate people that really dreams did come true for. And I left Ireland when I was about 19. I'm 49 now, and went through Australia, Japan, did all of that, and worked my way into America. And I feel like, I've been lucky, but I've been opportunities that presented themselves, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to identify them. And it's an amazing sport, and it's been, I can't glow enough about how great the sport has been for me and my family personally. And I'm just so amazed that we can put together partnerships and make so many other people happy as well, which is just part of it. It's great to be able to share this sport with our friends and our partners. And again, back to Bob, that's what's amazing about Bob, is the whole interaction we have with the whole operation is just it's enormous.
Tom Ryan with us from a rural farm in Ireland, to the Avengers, this SF Racing thing and the Avengers. How did this come together originally, and what is it about that group that keeps you together? So often, these partnerships are fluid, they move around. You seem to have a real stable base of owners, investors, whatever you want to call it there, with your group. What is it that makes it click, and how did it get going?
Yeah, it's been going 7 or 8 years now, and we're thankful for it. It was all built really around Bob, and the concept I presented to him was that if I raised the capital, he would participate in training everything, but also participating at the sales for us. And himself and Donato have been, effectively incredibly integral to the success of the whole deal. But it was Bob dubbed us the Avengers, because it was kind of it was Jack Wolf and Saul Koeman and myself and Donato and all of these different characters that kind of showed up at various different events. And you're right, we've been very fortunate to be very kind of united through rough and tumble, and it's been fantastic. And it's all really been centered around Bob, because we believed in Bob, we continue to believe in Bob. We originally probably Starlight and Madacat with SF had exposure to each other through Justify, through the Triple Crown. And then it was really, it was very apparent to me that going down the path where we loaded up on Bob Baffert was the right answer. And it continues to pay dividend.
Tom Ryan with us. I also have to ask, because it's that time of year, who are the other 2-year-olds in the barn that we're watching that will eventually fledge as 3-year-old? We're all very aware of Litmus Test, obviously, after his great performance at Los Alamitos. Anyone else we need to watch, Tom?
Yeah, I would probably say we have a high level of confidence in horses like Christopherson and Cherokee Nation. We feel like those horses will get their show on the road here come the new year. And there's a couple of unexposed horses, a number of them really, but there's a colt called Newton who will potentially run the next few weeks. Colt called Memory, he looks like he's coming along well. He's an Uncle Mo colt. And look, I'm hopeful that there's a couple of colts over at Los Al that I'm not mentioning that could potentially jump up and make a splash in February or March. It's very hard to have them all slide into the Derby pool window. It just doesn't really work that way. But we've had lots of good horses develop late, and that doesn't diminish their chances of becoming very important horses.
You've been involved with a lot of really good horses over the years. One of the biggest names recently was National Treasure, who won the Preakness a few years ago. But who was maybe one of those underrated horses, one who maybe didn't steal all the headlines, whose career you just either felt was really rewarding or you really enjoyed kind of watching their career unfold? Is there anyone you can think of that's kind of along those lines?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think there's one in the past and one currently that's playing that role. Newgate was a very good colt. Newgate was a very good colt, and he just missed his window. I I think he might have won the Lewis or one of those early preps with 100 bar. Really looked like he could be top class. Had a setback, and he ended up winning his Grade 1 as a 4-year-old. And he ran a monster race in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He was one of those horses that I feel had things just worked out, a month in advance. He could have made a far bigger splash on the scene than he did. But I'm thankful he got a job in Kentucky. He was very well received last year, and he's at a farm that Three Chimneys that can clearly make a stallion. And the other colt is interestingly is Imagination. He's running. We have him at the moment. He's a horse that's always showed us that he's got ability, and it might have been poor management in this case, where we were always trying to stretch him out a little bit. And the truth of the matter is he probably is more of a 6-7 furlong horse. So I thought his race this year in the sprint was very good. His prep for the sprint was excellent. He is a horse with legitimate brilliance. So hopefully he'll get a clear path into 2026 where he can maybe hit one of those big targets.
All right, Tom, we'll get you out of here on this. Are you in charge of the weather? Because a bad job by you if you are. It's too cold. I don't like this.
I tell you what, I'm so thankful for the people that are outdoors breaking those ice cubes in the water troughs. That was my job once upon a time. I'm thankful to be indoors looking at it now, but I really do appreciate all the people that work through these tough times and keep these farms up and running. It's a slightly thankless job, but I'm thankful for it.
Well, there you go. He's Tom Ryan. We appreciate him jumping on from SF, and of course, Team Litmus Test. How about that? Should be an interesting one to watch throughout the spring. Well, continued good health, Tom, for all of your runners, and we'll talk to you soon. I hope here on BloodHorse Monday.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom Ryan, the SF folks, and of course the connections of Litmus Test. And this is an interesting time of year as far as these things. Obviously, we'll have the gun runner down at Fairgrounds this coming weekend. These early preps, so often we actually do meet runners and we don't realize Derby runners, and we don't realize we're meeting them yet, right? Yes. It's kind of one of those things. Obviously, we met journalism in the Los Alamitos Futurity last year, but it is such an interesting time of year. I think it would be very easy to forget that a horse in form after the Breeders' Cup can be really good when they get to their 3-year-old year. And certainly, we saw with journalism last year, certainly can with Litmus Test.
Well, and with Litmus Test, he's a name that we know now, too, because we've seen him on the Derby Trail a couple times now, the Breeders' Futurity, the Juvenile, the Los Alamitos Futurity as well. So he's one that we're getting familiar with. And he's sitting second right now on the points board with 19. Yeah. And I think that's one of the underrated parts of this is, especially recently with some of the changes that they've made to the points as far as, getting 40 points or getting 50 points at one point, those 19 points could end up becoming a really crucial thing.
That's right.
Now, obviously, we always hope that you end up winning one of the 50 points or one of the 100 prep races and it doesn't matter. But we've seen over the last couple of years where that in between 40 and 50 zone is kind of that bubble. And those, like, you look at the 9 points at the end, that could be, say something, say he misses a start somewhere, but he ends up, being kind of on that bubble. Those extra 9 points there on the 19 because of his runs in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, because of the Breeders' Futurity, that could be a huge difference maker as far as him qualifying for the race. And so I think a lot of times we kind of I feel like some people dismiss some of these early prep races, some of these 10-point to the winner ones, especially the horses that don't win them. But racking up kind of those small amounts of points can really help out. You think back to Mystic Dan.
I think West Saratoga is who I always think of.
Well, from the winning perspective, you think back to Mystic Dan. Right. Obviously, he did win the Southwest, and he got the 20 points from that. But he got 1 point for finishing 5th in the Smarty Jones. He got the what is it now for 25 or something for running 3rd in the Arkansas Derby. Right. And so it's those kind of and we've gone 5 straight years now where the horse that's won the Derby did not win his previous start.
Right.
So seeing some of these horses kind of rack up maybe some of those minor point values is definitely a big deal. So that 3rd in the Breeders' Futurity, the 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, that's a pretty big deal when you're looking at it from that perspective. And now that he's got the win under his belt and he's looking to continue progressing, that's going to be hopefully carrying him forward.
Something Tom said too that I really agree with is this is a horse that's run, he's already done the shipping to Keeneland, right? That he's won in different places. He's run well at different places. Like he ran well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He did. Yeah. Like that's just true. Like he just ran well in that race. Then he goes to Los Al, which is a very different style of surface that frankly caters more to like turf horses.
Yeah.
And he goes ahead and puts away that field. I think if he kept saying the word, you're allowed to get excited. I totally agree with
that. Well, and as he mentioned, we saw Litmus Test being able to win from off the pace, which I feel like we always pin the Baffert horses as being the front runners.
The Authentics of the world, whatever. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Recently, for sure, we've been pinning them as the front runners. They have to be up on the lead. So to see him,
Rodriguez last year, frankly.
Yeah, to see him be proven at doing that is definitely a big step forward for him.
Yeah. No, I think we saw a lot of positives with him over the weekend, and as you mentioned, vaults him into the second spot on the Derby standings. 40 points total overall for Ted Nafi, the 10 in the Breeders' Futurity, and then the 30 in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Litmus Test right behind that with the 10 this past weekend in the Los Alamitos Futurity. We did not talk about Hong Kong racing to open the show, but the two singles given out by our guy, Bob Keycapper, last week, both hit.
Shocking, right?
Did you see the video of the protester in Hong Kong get tackled?
If you have not seen that video, I guess look up protester, but we do have it linked in our recap of the race, the video of the protester getting tackled while Romantic Warrior's coming down the stretch. Shout out to the assistant starting crew there.
Did they get that right or what?
Yeah.
Literally just tackle the guy, keep him on the ground, away from everything. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything in the next 10 seconds.
Yes.
What do you think they had? 15 seconds, right? If people don't know, this is the very end. They're coming around the final turn. They've hit the top of the stretch, and a protester jumps the rail and runs onto the turf course. Okay? With a sign, turns around, holds up the sign, and by the time the protester turns around, someone's tackling him.
Did he ever even get it up? I think they got him before he even put it up. I think he was from what Bob had written in his story. He was protesting something with the big fire that they had there a couple of years ago. So it wasn't anything racing related that he was protesting. But still, don't jump on the track while the horses are running.
I mean, it's just.
But yeah, he got tackled immediately. The sign went flying. Somebody had the presence of mind to snatch the sign before it flew, like in the path of the horses as well.
I mean, everything there. 3 people grabbed him. A person grabbed the sign. I mean, like it was almost like they drew it up.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it was true or not. I saw somebody comment. I don't know if they were just referring to it looked like it or if it was definitive that he did. But somebody mentioned that the guy who made the tackle was a former rugby player. So if that's true, then that was a pretty proper tackle. But yes, that was.
Tom Ryan played rugby in rural Ireland.
We should have had this conversation before. We could have asked him.
Well, I guess he's a hurling guy.
But
have you ever seen hurling?
No, I don't.
It's terrifying. It's rugby, but with sticks. It's like lacrosse, but with flat paddles. It's terrifying.
Huh.
I mean, the people in that sport come out less attractive than when they went in. It's just brutal. It's unbelievable. Anyway, sorry, Tom.
But yes, but besides the phenomenal performance from the assistant starter crew, from the gate crew, there in the stretch,
what are we doing, dude? Romantic Warrior?
I mean, both him and Ying Rising.
Both of them.
Yeah, they are turning into if you typically only watch.
The Ying Rising wins, pays 210. Romantic Warrior wins, pays 220.
I can't believe he pays 220.
Yeah, right. Ooh, an extra time.
But if you are an American racing fan, you really only ever watch the American races. You have to start tuning into when these two run. It's over there in Hong Kong. I know it's late. It's early enough in being late to where you can still be awake and get a decent amount of sleep if you got nothing else going on.
I flew out yesterday from a conference I was at, and it was in a resort that has a couple of nightclubs in it.
Mm-hmm.
I got up and I was walking through the lobby to go to my plane as people were like congregating outside these nightclubs. Like it was that early in the morning.
Were they watching
That's Hong Kong racing. There it is. That's Hong Kong racing. There you go. Yeah. Pretend you're at the club. That's right.
But yeah, Ying Rising, 16 wins in a row.
That's unbelievable.
And he shipped to Australia. He won the Everest, which I think is the richest grass race in the world. Yeah. He looks. I can't imagine he would, but man, would it be cool to get him over here for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint at Keeneland. Kentucky Downs, that would be great as well.
Run for like $2 million.
Yeah. Well, he's not Kentucky bred though. He's New Zealand bred.
Raise the purse for 3.
So $1 million.
Yeah.
But no, he looks like a rock star. I don't think there's anything on the planet that could beat him right now going those distances. And Romantic
Who's the next greatest New Zealand bred? There's got to be one, right?
There's got to be somebody behind him, right?
But he's the GOAT right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter right now.
What was Cigar's number 17?
He won 16 straight. Zenyatta got up to 19.
This is what we're talking about.
What did Winks?
By the way,
is Winks the record? Well,
what was
if you want to go
26?
way back, Kinsham.
I don't, but go ahead.
I think Kinsham won 54 in a row or something in the 1800s.
Okay.
And then that was in Hungary. Yeah, she won all 54 of her races in Hungary. There's a racetrack named after her and a statue there. And then Camarero, where you just were in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I think he is the record holder across the world. He won 56 straight. I believe I'm double checking on that right now. He won 56 straight races.
The horse Camarero?
Yeah.
Got it.
And yeah, I think
winner of 73
he won 73 total, and I think he won the last 56 in a row.
73 wins and 77 starts.
But they renamed the track after him.
They should.
Let me verify I'm trying to verify the 56 wins here. Yeah, 56 straight victories.
From April of 53 to August of 1955, winning the Puerto Rican Triple Crown and becoming a national icon on the main racetrack there, the Hipódromo El Comandante, previously is now named in his honor to Hipódromo Camarero.
So Kai Ying Rising's got a long way to go. He's got to win 40 more races here before he gets.
Think about that. 40 more. But okay, let's also do this. The fact that involved in that win streak is the Everest and then going to Hong Kong at the highest level of turf sprinting is a remarkable thing. But shout out to Bob K for taking care of us on that. I've said it before, Sean, and I stand by it. We need more Bob on this show, whether it's E-Haul or Kick Effort. We need those things in our lives. I think well,
we're getting to the end of the year where they might replace us with the two of them on the show.
You need to stop saying things like that. I don't need those. I don't need that in the air or anything like that at all. But no, it's just a fun environment. It looks incredible shot there. It really does. It just looks unbelievable.
Maybe we do the show from there next year.
Well, the other track that we could actually go to is they're having the Serie Caribe, the Caribbean Series at Camarero in December.
Well, then let's do it.
It was in La Rinconada this year in Venezuela. That's not available to Americans right now. But,
I'm down.
Camarero is definitely available to us. Another man who has probably been at the track, but I imagine he was at an NFL stadium yesterday. His name is Jake Delhomme. He joins us on the show here. He's got a trainee called Touchuponastar. Were you at a game yesterday, Jake? I imagine you had to be, right?
Yeah, I was. I do the radio for Carolina. Luke Kuechly and myself are two of the color analysts.
Look at that.
Yeah, it was a rough day yesterday, man. We had a 10-point lead at the second half. Thought we could have pulled away. It was one of those games. It was rough. We're trying to get there. Ton of improvement, but we're not there yet. But everything's still right in front of us.
Everybody's favorite Carolina Panthers. Jake Delhomme joins us here on BloodHorse Monday. Appreciate him jumping in. Man, Luke Kuechly, do you know that name?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. That guy.
I'm not that young.
No, but Luke just as a pure defender, Jake. I'll do a little football talk here. Luke Kuechly, unbelievable, frankly.
Yeah, he's a, we didn't play together. My last year playing was the 2011 season, and that's when he was drafted in Carolina, but I wasn't there. But know him a little bit until we started doing the radio together, and he's a different animal. I kind of wish he was still playing. Pretty disappointed. I know I was disappointed. I thought he was a definite first ballot Hall of Famer. I feel pretty certain he'll get in this year in the second year, but great player, great person, and it's fun to be in the booth with him. We have a lot of fun doing the games. We bleed Carolina blue, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, bleeding Carolina blue, but you also got a lot of Louisiana blood in you as well, as does Touchuponastar, who this weekend won his 4th consecutive edition of the Louisiana Champions Day Classic Stakes. Just what has it been like having a horse like him, on a smaller circuit in Louisiana, but just so dominant start after start after start? Just how fun is that?
It's hard to put into words, really and truly. And trust me, it never gets old doing an interview after a race or something like that. He's easy to talk about. One, because he's just a cool horse. And I say that, everyone says that the good horses, I don't know, they have something about him. He's different. He's different than anything else we have in the barn. He's different than most of the other horses that you see at the training center that we're at. When he comes out the barn, he comes out and he is going to go on the track when it's his time. He's not going to go right to it. He's going to stop and he's going to stare and look. And there could be noise, a horse could get loose, whatever it may be, and he just won't move. It's just he's kind of surveying everything, and then he'll take his time. He'll gallop, and he's easy on himself. But yeah, he's an awesome horse who shows up every time and competes. And man, I'm so lucky and blessed to be able to own him. And for my dad Jerry and my brother Jeff. It's just been great, man. It's awesome. It's hard to put into words. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, you mentioned that you enjoy doing the post-race interviews there. Obviously, being a Pro Bowl quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, you've done a lot of post-game interviews. Which one's easier, the post-game interview after a football game or the post-race interview after Touchuponastar wins?
Yeah, listen, well, post-game interview, whether I threw for 3 or 4 touchdown passes and a win, or if I threw for 3 or 4 interceptions and a loss, you had to get up there and do it. So, if Touch would have lost on Saturday, I would not have done a post-race interview. So, no, it's certainly easy to get up to talk about Touch, because that's always fun. If whenever that does occur, I never take that for granted. Trust me. But yeah, it's very easy to talk about him, and but it was always fun to talk to the media. I didn't mind talking to the media. Look, they had a job to do. I understood it. I had a job to do. Whether I played good or bad, I just put your big boy pants on. Go talk. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's just me. That's how I look at things.
Jake Delhomme with us. You'll know him from the Carolina Panthers broadcast, of course. So he joins us here on BloodHorse Monday. Look, you grow up in Louisiana. You grow up in a horse racing family. You mentioned your brother. You mentioned your dad being involved in that. Tell us the truth. What's it like working with family on this kind of thing? Because frankly, I know a lot of families that don't talk very much. This is a lot of talking involved in these kinds of decisions. What's it like having a family operation like that?
It's great. There's very few arguments or disagreements. Listen, we were raised, my grandfather had the quarter horses, had the bush tracks way back when, and so dad was always, they did that. Dad had a state job, so the horses were done late in the afternoon at the house, and we made the switch from quarter horses to thoroughbreds in '93. But we were raised at the same barn, learning the same things. And so we kind of always, everything we took about the horses, we got from dad, and he got from his dad. And certainly you put your own little twist on it or whatnot, or what you may believe, but you're constantly learning every day about the horses. But I think the biggest thing that I've always taken away, and I got this from dad, but we never, I don't want to say this, we never like squeeze the lemon too dry. I mean, like a horse will tell you when they're happy, when they're healthy, when they're ready. And we're one that we're lucky enough that I'm not going to squeeze the lemon. If we don't think Touch is doing great, or any horse in our barns doing the greatest, we're not going to run. We're not under pressure to run. But yeah, there's a few disagreements every now and then, but it's few and far between out of respect we have for our dad. We learned everything from him, and yeah, we have our different ideas and things of that nature, but for the most part, 99% of the time, we're all in the same alignment.
One of the big names in thoroughbred ownership right now over the last year or so has been Major League All-Star World Series champion Jason Worth. His getting involved here in the sport. He had a little bit of
being on this show. I mean,
yeah, we had him on this show a few weeks ago.
Jason finally made it. Yeah.
But we've heard a lot about kind of his transition of needing something competitive after he retired from baseball, and horse racing kind of filled that gap. I know your story is probably a little bit different just because you did kind of grow up already having the interest in racing, but was that a similar thing for you as far as horse racing kind of filling that void at the end of your competition days?
Yeah, it's I grew up in South Louisiana, right? So the fishing and hunting is huge, and it's sportsman's paradise. I didn't grow up fishing and hunting. I didn't grow up playing golf. I went to school. We played sports, and when we weren't doing that, I was at the barn in the backyard. I mean, we lived on 15 acres. The barn was in the back. I mean, I wanted to clean out the stall. I wanted to get the hay from up top. I wanted to be around. I wanted to do that. It's something that it's just, we know how difficult it is because we're in it. The people that are in the outside world, I don't think they understand how difficult horse racing is. It's difficult, especially to win. And I had so many guys I played with. Our mini camp was always the weekend after the draft, which takes place in late April. So that weekend's what? Kentucky Derby weekend. You're not running a horse in the Derby this weekend? I'm like, I don't even want to answer that question. They just didn't understand. And you tried to explain to them how difficult, how hard it is. But man, it's just, for me, it's great. It helps fill that competitive void that I don't think you ever lose. I know I've never lost it. And the barn is kind of like the locker room. It's just something about the camaraderie at the barn, and I'm one that, you know, I like to have a good time, and you better have thick skin because we're gonna take jabs. I mean, that's what the locker room's like. I mean, that's what it's about, and you know, it's a lot of fun. The track community is a special community.
Well, when you see someone like Jason Werf getting in, or Alex Bregman's another
Right.
athlete that I think of that's been involved. Just what are your thoughts overall on the number of people involved in other professional sports starting to get an interest in racing?
Yeah, I love seeing that. Yeah, I met Eric Johnson, the hockey player. I met him. He was involved. I haven't met Jason Worth yet. And then Alex Bregman, I love seeing that. I would have a feeling, hopefully, in 10 years after he's playing in the majors, hopefully he can play as long as he can. He gets heavily involved into it. More so on a hands-on, but yeah, I love seeing it. I love watching the videos with Jason and all the fun that they've had with door knock and things like that. So I think it's great. Hopefully, it's such a great sport, and it's such a great feeling. And whether your horse is winning a stakes race or if it's a bottom level claim or whatever it may be, there's nothing like it when he's coming down the lane or getting up right at the wire. There's nothing like it. And then taking a picture. It's just, man, it's fun. It's an unbelievable sport with beautiful athletes, and that's what I enjoy about it.
Jake Delhomme with us. Your guy Touchuponastar won a race this past spring, and it's called a Grade 2. And there was another horse named Sierra Leone in it.
Right.
Tell us all the truth. How much faith did you have in your horse that day? What was your reaction when he crossed the line first?
Yeah, listen, I was very excited. We ran second in the New Orleans Classic in 2024, and I thought Touch did all the dirty work. We battled it out there with one of Brad's horses, and Red Route won. Quality horse, made maybe even $2 million. I don't know. He was able to catch us at the end. And listen, we lost fair and square. That's horse racing. I'm a big boy. I don't look for excuses, right? And so we lost fair and square, but I thought Touch did all the dirty work. And I always felt there was a graded race with his name on it. Yeah, we don't travel much out in Louisiana because we're based here. We love here. I'm on our Louisiana Thoroughbred Breeders Board. I think we have one of the best breeding associations in the country with how many times our horses get to run in state and our breeders awards. And so we traveled to Texas a couple of times, second in the Steve Sexton Mile twice. And I always thought there was one out there. And Touch was doing great. And, we ran him on Louisiana Derby Day and understood all the competition. Sierra Leone had won the Breeders' Cup Classic, but he was coming off of a layoff and things like that. And we were doing great, and we were going to take our shot. And Touch was ready. And I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think we overthought it, right? Okay, let's work. What is this horse? What happens here? No, like, hey, good luck. He's ready. He's going to give you his best. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. And that's how I looked at it. And thought he was good enough that day. And super proud. It was a fun day. It was a fun day. The crowd was it was into it, big crowd. And he's got a really big following, and especially a Louisiana bred doing that. It was awesome.
Well, you mentioned all the incentives to stay put in Louisiana, but when you do end up beating a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, was there any temptation to maybe, go up for something like the Stephen Foster, or, maybe something else down the line? Or was it always 100% we're just going to stay in Louisiana? Now that he's continuing to rally off wins, are there any future plans to maybe leave Louisiana?
I'm not saying that we won't leave. I think that's something that's maybe in the back of our minds, and we'll see how it plays out. And yeah, there was a thought last year to head up on Derby weekend. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the race.
Ali Sheba.
Yeah, I think it was on the Friday. And I had a senior in high school, and it was their senior mass that morning.
No,
I wasn't gonna miss it. It is what it is. I wasn't gonna miss it, and it's just it. Family, listen, the horses come first. We take care of them, but our family, I mean, and that's where I guess I'm lucky that I can decide, or we can decide. We have him, and we can decide. So yeah, it was a thought to make that trip, but the calendar didn't align with what we wanted, and I have no problem with that.
All right, we'll get you out of here on this. He wins as a 6-year-old. Is there a plan to race him as a 7-year-old?
Yeah, no, the plan is to race him as long as he wants, to be very honest. He was gilded early on. He was pretty hot. I mean, he enjoyed himself a little bit, and we he's a very sound horse. Knock on wood, as I'm knocking on my desk right now.
I get it.
Very
We'll knock
sound
on ours
horse.
too.
Go
Knock on your
knock
knock on the
We give him breaks, especially at the end of May. You know, there's really not much here, Louisiana wise. It gets really hot here, so we give him a break, and he certainly enjoys it. And he comes back. He seems like he loves his job. His father was almost a $2 million earner. His father ran till he was 8. His mother was a quality runner. So there's a lot of pedigree there. He's doing great. He's sound. He's happy. He's healthy. And the day that he shows that he's starting to drop in class a little bit, or he doesn't want to, and I'd like to think he'd tell us. And yeah, people think that's crazy, but I mean, we're with him every day. You know, like it's every single day. Myself, my brother, my dad. I mean, and they start to tell you those things.
Oh, good stuff, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I got one. He lied. I got one last question.
Sure.
So you guys
The media lies. There it is.
So you guys run under the name of Set Hut,
Right.
obviously football reference. Was there any debate whether or not you should go forward with the football reference in the ownership name, or was that it was too obvious? Was there any debate when it came to that?
No, I listen. Whenever it kind of started, I was still playing at the time, and yeah, we would get a couple of more horses, but I knew when I was done, I was going to be all in, right? And so thinking of a name and Set Hut, it was just kind of, I liked it. And I wanted to name a lot of the horses after buddies of mine that I played with at the football plays, terminology, things of that nature. And I've tried to do that. And so, it's kind of fun. And, I want to be around the horse first before we name him. I don't like to try to be honest, I don't like to try to name him before we're not training him and around him. That's just me. That's a quirk that I have. So Touchuponastar has absolutely nothing to do with horse racing and with football. And I was naming a couple of them, and it got to his name, and I'm looking at Star Guitar, and his mama's name's Touch Magic. Yep. We didn't have a football play with Magic. We didn't have anything with Star, with guitar, or anything. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know why, because I'm definitely not this creative mind at all. And I said, Touchuponastar. That's pretty cool, and like named him. So yeah, maybe I need to do that for some other ones, huh? Maybe get some luck.
I think the only thing I could come up with was if you named him Hands to the Face, something like that, right? With something like that. But I don't think you want to name a horse Hands to the Face. I'm just saying.
No, because I don't know. It depends. It could either way. I don't like it if my lineman was Hands to the Face, but I like it if a D lineman was, and we got a free
Luke Kuechly stuff. Yeah, we don't need Luke Kuechly naming these horses. That's not what we need.
I haven't named one Luke Kuechly yet. So yeah, I haven't found that.
That'll be when he gets in the Hall of Fame.
Kuechly sounds like a Baffert trainee, doesn't it? Like a derby.
I'm just wondering if the announcers could pronounce it right, because it's spelled a little different.
Yeah, you'll have to have some talks with them about that.
Sure.
The pronunciation guide like you guys get before games. Well, Jake, we really appreciate this. Hopefully we have an excuse to talk to you again in the coming future. But
he's got like 3 more Louisiana Championship Day races. He's
gun runner this weekend. There's a lot going on. It should be a fun set of races coming up here. But Jake, thanks for jumping on. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Likewise. Thank you. There you go. Jake Delhomme, out of the announcer's booth long enough to hang out with us. How about that?
Yeah. From the announcer's booth.
Busy man on Sunday. There you go. Podcast booth.
That's what we're in, right?
It's a little bigger than a booth, but not much. You're right. Yeah, it's colder than most booths. Yeah, but there you go. Jake Delhomme and Touchuponastar. Appreciate him kind of, and you. I thought I asked it in a really good way, where just hey, the nice horse. You don't always have to run Louisiana. No, there's incentives here, and this is what we do, and we hang out with the horse every day. He's comfortable down here. What's interesting is I was smiling because I didn't even think about it. He has a Southern Hemisphere schedule.
Yeah,
he doesn't run during American summers because it's so hot in Louisiana. Yeah, so if you look at his running lines. He runs in the spring, he runs in the fall, and obviously during the winter, and that's what he does. But it makes sense with the Louisiana program the way that it is. If you have a high-level stakes horse, this is what you run. Yeah, right. That's what it is.
I enjoyed hearing his take on ownership too. He mentioned they were considering going up and running in a huge race, the LA Sheba on Kentucky Oaks Day, but he had a family event going on, so no problem just keeping him running him in a stakes race at Evangeline that week instead. Yeah. So it's nice hearing kind of different people's perspectives when it comes to ownership, because he actually won a stakes at Evangeline on Kentucky Derby Day, so he ran that week.
Yeah, we forget these are people.
Exactly.
Right? These are still people with high school seniors.
We always think, oh, you get the top horse, you're gonna,
You're
no matter what, the horse is gonna go. Even if you're not gonna go with the horse is gonna go. No, I'm gonna keep the horse where I am. I'm gonna keep the horse where I'm able to go see him run. I like hearing that from him. That shows just how deeply involved that he is in this, how his family's involved with it, the enjoyment that they get from it, for sure.
We will be running at Louisiana on Saturday.
Yeah, we will.
And that is for the road to the Kentucky Derby. And there are some very interesting races this weekend down there, including the Untappable, which is on the Oak side of things, and of course the Gun Runner. On the Derby side of things, the Diliberto Memorial is this weekend as well. The Tenacious is this weekend as well. This time of year, we just talked with Tom Ryan. We just talked about Litmus Test. And we know with that group what we're looking for at this point with like a Mesquite or a Liberty National or a Crown the Buckeye, the Ohio bred for Mike Maker, this kind of stuff. What are you looking for when you watch these races, Sean? Are you looking for wow performances? Are you looking for that horse that's maybe trying 2 turns for the first time, how they handle that? What are you looking for this time of year?
At this time of year, I want to see the horse that's handling the 2 turns. Now, especially if they haven't run it yet. I know a couple of these, I believe, have been around 2 turns. I know Liberty National's the favorite on the morning line. He just came off of a maiden win at Churchill around 2 turns and stars at Tomorrow Card. By the way, I do have to say I was talking to somebody in the McPeak barn, and it was not we think we're going to win on Saturday. It was we're going to win on Saturday. So they're very confident in Liberty National this upcoming weekend. Liberty. Yep.
It does sound like a really Liberty National just sounds like a federal credit union, does it not?
Well, I mean, I got to root for it too, being a Liberty High School graduate.
Oh, there it is. All right, there you go.
I gotta be
Derby race with a Liberty in it. There you go.
Yep. So
I thought maybe you'd go after Arabia Wild after your trip there.
Well, that's a good example.
I'm going with Mr. Punch because that's what I want to do to you after these shows.
That'll be the trifecta. But you heard it here first. The trifecta block you're playing is 368.
368.
But no, I want to see horses take a step forward when they're going around 2 turns. I want to see progression off of a maiden win. So like if you won super impressively and you're made, I don't want to say like you can't win a close race in here because you're facing better horses. But yeah, I want to see you run the same kind of race here.
I'm looking for progression. That's all I'm looking for in December. It's just show me you're taking a step forward, whether that's going 2 turns for the first time and you show, hey, you know what? This is a horse that can grow into that, right? That the pedigree, if there's a question mark on pedigree, maybe it's a horse that feels more like they'd be a mile and a 16th, mile and an 8th. I think that stuff's a little overrated, Sean, because getting the 10 furlongs, how many times in a career does a horse really have to do that on the dirt, especially? But at this point, especially, mile and a 16th in the Gun Runner, we get the mile 70 yards in the Philly race in the Untappable. I'm just looking for horses that can handle that kind of route. Yes. That's what I'm looking for. But the Springboard Mile is this weekend as well in Remington. You've been to that race before.
Yes.
That a couple of years ago was a sneaky important race. Senor Buscador was a winner of that thing, and it turned out to be somebody. It's actually a sneaky important race. Big field.
Cold Battle came out of it
last year. Okay, so this has become a bit of a predictor race as far as at least who the Kentucky Derby runners are going to be. Not necessarily the winners per se, but boy, we've had some good runners out of it. Anybody catch your eye on this one?
I'll be honest, I haven't really had a chance to look at the race yet.
I know Spice Runners
in this race. I feel like this is kind of a last chance for him. Do you feel like on the Derby Trail already? He won the Iroquois. He really didn't fire in either the Breeders' Futurity or the Jockey Club last time.
I think this is his last chance to see if he wants to go 2 turns.
Yeah,
I think that's
that's kind of
because I think he's either a 6 or 7 or a 1-turn mile kind of horse if it doesn't go this weekend.
Yeah,
I think it's the 2-turn question, like I talked about for some of those runners, say in the Untappable or the Gun Runner. Many of the same things for me, for at least for the Springboard Mile.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a race that it's got a full field of 12. I think this is a race that people are really starting to realize you can. Like, you have a good horse, you don't necessarily want to throw him into the deep end yet. This is a really good spot.
$300,000.
Yeah, and
it's like a great purse.
I mean, Remington, it's no shock to see Steve Asmussen in the entries, but I mean, he's got 3 in this race. You see Mike Maker's got 1 in this race. Moquette's got 1 in this race. Kenny McPeak's got 1 in this race. So you're seeing where, trainers trainers that we know, trainers that are kind of on the Derby trail quite often, they're starting to pay a little bit more attention to this race. They're starting to send some horses there. You saw Coal Battle beat Speed King, which Speed King was a player in the Oaklawn series of races. Jumping back to the Gun Runner, you think about the last couple of years, the winner of the Gun Runner has been present the rest of the Derby trail. You think Built, you think Track Phantom, you think that in the last couple of years. So these are races where, they're ones that are important ones to pay attention to, because recently the horses that have been running in them have been performing well in them. Maybe they haven't been winning the Derby or winning the final round of prep races, but they've been players on the Derby trail, and they've been part of the race as we get to the first Saturday in May.
Well, that's exactly right. So a fun one there at Remington, and certainly down at Fairgrounds as well. Rerunning after having to cancel the synthetic championships. That'll be on Sunday at Turfway Park.
I'm still sad about that.
Well, just look, if you're going to take family seriously around Christmas, then I can't help you.
I know.
That's what I'm going to say to you, young Sean. Of course, we encourage you to check out BloodHorse Magazine. You can find the magazine tab at the top of the homepage there as well. If you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube right now, you can check out the QR code at the bottom of the homepage. Get that stallion registry as part of the subscription to BloodHorse Monthly. Comes to your house, beautiful on that coffee table, all the things.
Yes, very.
I love BloodHorse Magazine.
I know. Well, and I mean, we're coming up on
great Christmas gift maybe for somebody.
Yeah, great Christmas gift. We're coming up on Eclipse Awards, so that's going to be something very exciting. I probably wouldn't be definitely wouldn't be in the January issue, but you can look at that at some point coming up here soon, the next couple magazines. So you want to make sure you get your subscription ahead of those, so that way you get all you need to know about our Eclipse Award winners this year. And I know we're going to be talking some Eclipse Awards here soon too. We
will, for sure. We'll welcome middle of the year guest Steve Kornacki back for end of year talk on the Eclipse Awards with him, fellow Eclipse voter, young Steve Kornacki from NBC. I say young, he's older than you, but he looks younger than you, I think.
Wow, thanks.
How old is Sean? Find out next week.
The BloodHorse is dedicated to the improvement of thoroughbred breeding and racing for over 100 years. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and save BloodHorse Monday on all your platforms. For the latest news, analysis, and insights, visit us at bloodhorse.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.